when Jesus told his parables, he was not giving his listeners food for thought. He was trying to waken them to the reality of their own lives. And quite often, he was trying to shock them awake. But we have become so familiar with the parables that their shock value has been greatly diminished. We need to try and get back to that stage of recognizing the shock value of some of the parables. One way of getting back to that is to recognize the difference between wisdom and foolishness, between the wise person and the fool. The wise person was the person who looked at life and looked at everything in terms of God or through the eyes of God. For us to call a person a fool is a kind of a mild criticism of the person. We say that the person was a fool for going out on a wet day without a coat or without an umbrella. But for Jesus, a fool was the worst thing you could say about a person. If we were to translate it now, we would probably say, "You stupid fool." We would want to bring home the utter stupidity of a person's behavior. And so when in the parable today, when God says to this businessman who has been a great success, who has achieved so many of his ambitions, who has become secure in his property and is able now to sit back and relax, and God says to him, "You fool, you stupid fool." Imagine God saying that to us. And so when Jesus is telling this parable to his listeners, he is more or less saying to them, "You stupid fools, because of the way you are looking at life and because of the way you are acting." And he's saying it to us also very often, "You stupid fools, look at the way you are behaving and your actions, your outlook." And what is it in particular that makes him say this about anybody? Well, basically, it is because we are not looking at life the way God looks at life. We have put the unimportant things in the important place in life. And we have put the most important things almost out of sight. And the most important thing is our relationship with God. The most important thing is the fact that our lives are going to pass very quickly. Even if we live to be 90, 100, 120, our lives will be gone so quickly. And then what? And then we are facing Almighty God, and we are facing eternity, an eternity of happiness or an eternity of disaster. And if we have that before us at all times in our lives, that this is what we are here for, to reach heaven, to become saints, to become united with Christ, to live as followers of Christ, then that is what the wise person does. But the fool is the person who loses sight of that. And when we look at our society today, so much of it is a forgetfulness of God, a deliberate ignoring of God in our lives. And that is the ultimate foolishness, the ultimate stupidity. On the other hand, once we become aware of God's love for us, of God's plan for our salvation, and we make that the center of our lives, then we become the wise person that Christ wants us to be.